Hello and welcome to Odd Sock Comics. Today I've got something kind of special. This is part 2 of my Artgerm Mylar bagging process. Now last time I went through the first 50 books in my Artgerm collection. This is going to be the middle 50. I think there's a little bit more than 150. I think there might be 180 or so. I don't remember the exact number. But I did have some things that I learned from the last time I did this. First of all, you can see that Action Comics number 1000 is on top. There are a couple of others here that I owned last time I tried to do this bagging, but because they're thicker books, they did not fit in the current size Mylar bags. Could not get them in and I wasn't going to risk it. So I bought standard size bags this time, and I think that's fine. It's about an extra 1/8 of an inch, I believe. Not a big deal. They seem to be, even the thin standard books seem to be pretty comfortable in there, pretty snug to where they're not really moving around. And then the nice thing is, because of the texture of Mylar, it kind of vacuum seals a little bit to the book, so once they're in there and kind of pressed, they don't want to move at all. So very cool. And then of course, you just love the way that Mylars look. Look at that reflection. That's fantastic. Okay, so I'm just going to go through these. I'll talk a little bit about if there's something interesting, but for the most part, this is just my Artgerm collection. So I got 2 copies, and maybe you can hear some kids screaming in the background. Got 2 copies of Action Comics 1000, the standard color, and then the more vintage look. Let's see, I've got 3 copies of Amazing Spider-Man 25. So I've got the Virgin variant, the black and white trade dress. It looks like there's some color in that, but because she is wearing black and white, it's mostly black and white. And then I've got the standard color variant. And this was a store variant. I think I bought all 3 in a package together. Can't remember from which store. I do think it's awesome, but I think that he went even higher level here for this version of Black Cat. Fantastic cover. Very recent, a couple weeks ago, right? Next up, we've got the Captain Marvel number 1 Walmart variant with the long hair. I'm going to have to sort these through anyway, so I'm going to flip some of them over, some of them I'll leave right side up. Okay, now I've got the Catwoman run, starting with number 9. I think I left off last time at 6, and then I think there was a gap of 3 that other people did the B covers. From what I understand, the next one is his last, and he just showed some pictures of it today. It's the Michelle Pfeiffer Batman Returns Catwoman, and it is fantastic. Okay, I'll be right back. Got to take care of some screaming kids. All right, where were we? We're back to Catwoman number 9. Now this one was in the big poster book I just got. Catwoman number 10. Catwoman number 11. I didn't really like this one. I think that it has potential. It just didn't work for me. Catwoman number 11 and Catwoman number 12. And I do think this one's awesome. I love the vintage stuff. That one's cool. That one also is from like last week, I think. Okay, next I've got a run of Champions from Legacy Comics, Legacy Edition. I'm not sure exactly how that worked, but I've got 3 of them. I think this was his first Marvel cover. So then the line art there. This was another store set that I bought all 3 together. All right, next I've got Dark Knight 3, The Master Race. I only have the black and white version of this. I will probably go and get the color version because I think it's beautiful. I think this one was in the poster book that I got as well, and I loved it. But yeah, I do like that one. All right, we've got Detective Comics number 1000. That is a fantastic cover. I kind of want the vintage one, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a hold of that anytime soon. It's quite expensive and it's not urgent for me to get it, but it's different enough from this cover that I want it. It's a distinct piece. So I think that I probably am going to pick it up eventually. All right, next up we have Detective Comics Annual number 12, Batman cover. All right, now we have an interesting image book. This is Fallout Toy Works. This was written by Fallout Boy. I don't know much about the book. This cover is obviously very anime, and I think that that's cool. But this cover is absolutely gorgeous. Still anime, but just a different level. I like this cover a lot. It's one of my favorite Artgerms. Okay, next up I have Fantastic Four #1, and I did buy a set that included the Virgin variant, and then all 4, which we'll go through now, of the Fantastic Four. Visible Woman. I'm gonna be honest, his name's completely escaping me. I'm like, I know everyone else. Human Torch. Yeah, I can't even think of his name. What is the main guy? Yep, I'm a big comic book fan. No, I honestly have never really gotten into Fantastic Four. There hasn't been a good version of it since I've been collecting. I did not like this one. The movies didn't really click, and then it wasn't big in the 90s either. It was one of those pieces that kind of escaped me. It's huge, obviously, all the super important characters and storylines that were developed in it in the original run, but it hasn't been good as long as I've been into comics, so I don't know much about it. I've got She-Hulk from the Fantastic Four Wedding Special. This one came out of nowhere. I almost missed it. Okay, now we have a really weird set of DC covers. Final Crisis Aftermath Dance. There's a couple of cool ones in here, but I don't know who any of these characters are. I don't know what was happening at this time. I haven't read Final Crisis, so I don't know what was going on, but, you know, obviously there's... I bought this set, this entire set, 6 books of Dance, and then 6 books of another Final Crisis Aftermath run. I bought them all together, and I think that they were about $1 a piece. The run set I have no interest in, but I looked at that, and it's got some weird characters, too. I have no idea what was going on at this point. That's a pretty cool kind of Valentine's Day cover. I like that one. Then you get some fun stuff. I do like this, that just the usual suspects line up. That's fun. And then this is number 6. No, number 5. There's one more here. And then we've got number 6. Also a good cover. So I don't know who the characters are. I don't know what's going on, but they're Artgerm. They're interesting. They've got me interested at least. All right. So I'm gonna move this stack a little bit because we're starting to get a shadow on the other pile. All right, and we are back. Okay, I got DC Year of the Villain. This is the 1 in 100. This was a 25-cent book though, so 1 in 100 wasn't really that much of a run. It wasn't hard to get. I think I paid $10 for it, which was about right. All right, next up I have the Reverse Flash Rebirth. This is just Flash number 8. This was a limited variant, I believe, or an incentive variant. I think a 1 in 10. This was incredibly hard to find. I bid on probably 5 or 6 of these in the $50 range, and I lost several of them because I didn't want to pay $80 for it, which is what it seemed like it was going for. I think I ended up getting this one. It's got some damage to it down here, a little bit of smudge on the edge there, but I paid $20.50 for it. I remember, I think I bought it when I was out. I was out trick-or-treating with my kids, and I said, this thing just went live, and I think I can get it. Can I bid on it? And my wife was like, yeah. Anyway, not a big deal, but I just remember that one stood out because it was hard to get. All right, next up I have the Fly number 1. This is from Zenescope. And this one apparently shot up in value a while ago. It showed up as kind of it's an homage to... I'm going Final Fantasy because I just watched the preview to Final Fantasy VII, the video game that's coming out that I'm very excited about, because I also grew up with Final Fantasy VII, but what is it? Well, you guys know what book I'm talking about, number 15. I can't believe my brain is shot. I could tell you why my brain is not functioning right now, but it doesn't matter. I really should prepare myself better before I get into these videos. Obviously, I don't have comics on the tip of my mind all the time, but I enjoy them quite a bit, so whatever. Okay, next up I have Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 1. I did like this Spider-Man cover. I think this is an amazing Spider-Man. The kind of agility and really good anatomy for the crazy shape. This is like back in getting what Spider-Man was all about, so very cool. This is, I don't think I can say that it's my favorite. It's probably in my top 5 because my favorite is Batgirl 12, no doubt. But this is quite possibly number 2. This is just a good looking book all around, and you can't go wrong. Some G.I. Joe. All right, and then I have 2 other G.I. Joe books. Now these are not Artgerm covers. These are Artgerm interior art. So I grabbed these. I found them in a... They were hard to find because it's a kind of a weird series. I'm not exactly sure. I was never exactly sure where to look for it, but I finally found it in some back issue bins, and I didn't pay that much for it. I was happy. Never really found them online. They're not really available in many places, but I got them. I pulled them open. I've got another video from quite a while ago where I when I first found them, opened them up on camera, kind of show. You can see Artgerm's distinct style. You kind of see his sequential art. I don't think he's... I don't know if he's a great sequential artist, storyteller, but he's a good cover artist, so that's what I'm going with. All right, we've got Generations, New Wolverine. Then we've got this whole series, The Great 10. There are only 9 books. It says... this is one of those funny sets where it says 1 of 10, and then about halfway through it switches to, 6 of 9 or whatever. 2 of 10. We're going to see where that one comes up. 3 of 10. 4 of 10. This is another team that I don't know anyone on this team. 5 of 10. 6 of 10. Oh, it's all the way up to 7 of 10. Ooh, where does it switch over? This is going to be 8 of 9. Yeah, 8 of 9. What just happened? And then 9 of 9. Again, it's cool because they're characters that I don't know, but the style is very interesting, and you can tell that the characters, like the way that Artgerm draws, there's interest in the characters, the character design, the way that they interact with the environment and everything else around them, the expression and everything. It's like I want to read it. That's exactly what a cover artist should do. All right, last 2. This one was another one that was pretty hard to find and very hard to look for. So this is an incentive variant for Green Lantern 56. Why does 56 get some special incentive variant? No idea what's in this book, but I ended up finding it in a shop in a variant back bin, and I'd never been able to find it before. I finally, after I bought it, and I paid a decent amount for it. Did I put the sticker on it? I didn't. I probably paid $20 or something. It was in a variant bin that was kind of overpriced all around. But I paid like $20 for it, and then afterwards I figured out how to search for it on eBay, and I saw that it's much less than that. So that's one of my disappointments. The cover's fine, but it was hard for me to find forever, and I finally found it in the wild, and I thought, oh, this is going to be the best deal. I'll never find it online. And then I figured out how to search for it, and I saw it all over the place. So it's not as hard as I thought it was. It's like an $8 book, really, so I paid double for that. All right, so I'm now getting into Grimm Fairy Tales, and I love the Grimm Fairy Tales run. I love most of his Zenescope covers. Just got one in this piece, just to start off just to finish up this 50 comic book run. But that's 50 books by Artgerm. Going forward, I think I've got probably 80 more or so. I'm not sure where the collection sits right now, but I do have, I think, every single book, at least one variant of every single book that he's got a cover on. So to me, it's pretty darn close to complete. It would be very difficult to get it all the way complete because you've got some books like The Lady Death, Nightmare Symphony, that has the metallic book there's only 13 of them available. I've never seen one for sale. I don't think that they're books that will ever really be on the market. The 77 limited variants, I've got one of those, and I'm very happy to have one of those, and I had to pay a lot for it. But those are still going for quite a bit. They don't move very often where they sit now. People are still asking for $600 or $700 for them. But anyway, I'll get on with the next ones. It'll probably be about a month before I do this again. I've got a lot of things going on in my personal life. It doesn't really stop me from comics, but it does become kind of a second priority. I think you can all understand that. It's summertime. I'm going to try to be as steady as possible, but I am traveling a lot for work, and I've got another big project that's coming on, so things just keep rolling. But I'm always happy to look at Artgerm books, and I'm always happy to talk comic books. I'm going to be doing a little bit of investment talk here soon. Not investment, some kind kind of return on investment talk. Like, how do you determine whether rules of thumb to decide if this peak is the one that you should sell or if you should hold on forever. And a lot of that, like the first rule of thumb, and I'll just say this now, the first rule of thumb is, does this book belong in my collection? If it does, don't sell it. Good enough. Okay, so that's all I've got. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this Artgerm run. I know that I enjoy pulling these books out, and this is a really good excuse to actually get my fingers on them, look at them up close. Really liked it. I'm going to go spend a few minutes trying to get these organized now because they're a little out of order. But this is always a fun little project for me to do. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing the time with me.